𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏 एको रथेन ततरे अहमतीर्यसत्त्वम् अतीर्यसत्त्वम् प्रत्याहितं बहुधनं च मया परेषां तेजास्पदं मणिमयं च हितं शिरोभ्यः जद्वान्धव कुरुबलान्वितमन्तरा अन्तपारम् एकम anantaparam. So the strength of Kuru army is unfathomable, just like an ocean. Arjuna is sharing his experience from the battlefield, that the armies of the Kauravas were so big, so extended, it looked like there is no end to the army of the Kauravas. Or in other words, we can say the strength of the Kaurava army was so great, they were insurmountable. Just like when you go and stand on a seashore, we don't see the other end of the ocean. Similarly, the Kaurava party, the army of Kauravas, was so great that Arjuna is thinking that without the help of Krishna, I would not be able to gain victory over them. They are all invincible. But eka rathena tatare, in one chariot, in the same chariot, Arjuna did not have to change his chariot. In the battlefield, sometimes a soldier would change his chariot, but Arjuna did not change his one chariot. He continued fighting from the beginning till end. And tatare, he was very easily able to surmount these invincible enemies. How? Pratyahitam bahudhanam cha maya paresham tejaspadam manimayam cha hitam shirobhyo. So he is remembering that how he actually fought the battle with the Kauravas. Prabhupada explains that incident that when the Pandavas were living incognito, that time the Kauravas party, they attacked Virat Nagar and they were stealing the cow of Virat king. And at that time, Arjuna actually helped. You know, if you read Mahabharata, you can see very clearly. His son Uttar went to fight with the Pandava Kauravas army, but he was a small warrior. What could he do? He was fleeing from the battle. Then Arjuna grabbed him. He said, "Why are you showing your back to the enemies? Come with me." He brought Uttar to that banyan tree where he had kept his Gandiva bow hidden. And he got his weapon. Then he went to fight with the Kaurava party. And there it is said that Mohanastrena mohoitva hitam, by deluding them with the weapon of delusion. Mahan astrena mohoitva. Arjuna was able to delude them through Mohan Astra, the weapon of delusion. And he became victorious. And that's why Arjuna fought with them incognito and was able to regain the cows along with some booty taken by force, the jewels set on the turbans of the royal order. Arjuna remembered that all this was possible by the grace of the Lord. Then he continues, text number 15. 𝗨𝗱𝗲𝗃𝗁 राजन्यवर्जरथमण्डलमण्डितासु अग्रे च मम विभुरथजूथपानाम् आयुर्मनांसि च दृशा सह ओज अर्क्षत्. She is saying, Yo, Bhishma, Karna, Guru, Shalya, Chamu. So, there were big warriors, and he is counting the names. Bhishma, Karna, Guru Dronacharya, Shalya, and their army, Chamu. And he is saying, Adabhra. They are immense. Rajanyavarjarathamandalamanditāsu agre chara. Agre chara means going forward. Mo vibhu rathajutha panam ayur manangsi chadisha sa oj arshad. Very interesting. Arjuna is fighting in the battlefield, and who are his opponents? These great Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Shalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate. But he, Lord Krishna, while going forward, did all this. Means, what did he do? He actually helped Arjuna to defeat all these great warriors in the battlefield. When we are discussing Bhishma's stuti, on that day we had discussed that how the day Arjuna was fighting with Karna. On that day, Arjuna, that the only day Arjuna was sweating. It was very intense fight for him. It was a big challenge. And Karna had saved one particular weapon to kill Arjuna. That is called 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗨. And when Karna released that 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃, when Karna released that 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃, Arjuna did not have time to counteract that weapon. And by seeing such a precarious condition, Krishna, he kicked very heavily on the chariot. Then the horses, they knelt down. And that's how the arrow came and touched the helmet of Arjuna, and Arjuna's helmet was knocked down. That's the only defeat seen in the Mahabharata fight for Arjuna. So in that way, it was all, but Krishna actually protected Arjuna. So, and here he is saying, just by Rathajutha Panam Ayur Manamsi Chadrisha Sahaoj Archat. Actually, just by looking at the opposite party, army, he reduced their lifespan. And Oja means their power. He could reduce their enthusiasm even. So in that way, it was possible for Arjuna to gain victory. Because Arjuna was the Lord's affectionate devotee, the Lord did all this himself without personal anxiety by Arjuna. So a very interesting point. We need to understand that here our acharyas are saying, just by glance, Krishna was able to make the army of the opposite party less enthusiastic. And they were losing the art of throwing the arrows, 𝗨𝗨𝘃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃. That also they lost. And how? It was by the grace of Krishna. When I was reading this, I was thinking, we devotees, sometimes we get very much worried about our circumstantial situation, right? Oh, what is happening to me? Why this is going on like this? I think that is a waste of time. If we simply try to meditate on these pastimes of Krishna, Krishna never abandons his devotees. How he protects his devotees, you see. This opposite party is coming, Krishna, by just looking at them, he is making them demotivated, lack of enthusiasm. He is making them forget about the art of throwing the arrows. Can you imagine? This is Krishna. Krishna can do anything for his devotees. So therefore, those who are devotees of Krishna should not feel worry. They should not think that what will happen to me. If we simply increase our level of surrender unto Krishna and we serve him wholeheartedly, as he protected Arjuna, he will also protect us. Because Krishna said, "Na, Ananyas chintayanto mam jedana parijupasate tesam nityavijuktanam yogachyamam." Krishna's words are always maintained by him, but he never abandons his devotees. Then the next verse is going to speak about very interesting point here. Jaddoshma pranihitam guru bhishma karna natri 𝗨𝗱𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 astrānya moga mahimani nirupitani 𝗨𝗨𝗃𝗃 dasamivāsurāni. Great generals like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Bhrishrava, Susarma, Salya, Jayadratha, and Balik all directed their invincible weapons against me. But by his, Lord Krishna's grace, they could not even touch a hair on my head. Similarly, 𝗨𝗨𝗃 Maharaj, the supreme devotee of Lord 𝗨𝗱𝗲𝗃, was unaffected by the weapons the demons used against him. So very interesting parallel Arjuna is drawing here. He is saying, just like by the grace of Lord 𝗨𝗱𝗃, 𝗨𝗨𝗃 Maharaj was protected from the invincible weapons. Similarly, all these great warriors who threw their weapons against me, they were also invincible, but I remained protected by Krishna's mercy. If you see, for every person, Srila Prabhupada is giving an elaborate commentary how Krishna protected Arjuna. Okay, we'll just read about this 𝗃𝗏𝗃. 𝗃𝗏𝗃 is Susarma, son of Maharaj 𝗨𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. He was the king of 𝗃𝗏𝗃, and he was also present in the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi. He was one of the allies of Duryodhana, and he advised Duryodhana to attack the Matsya Darbhanga. During the time of cow stealing in Viratnagar, he was able to arrest Maharaj Virat, but later Maharaj Virat was released by Bhima. In the battle of Kurukshetra, he also fought very valiantly, but at the end, he was killed by Arjuna. You see, from this we can understand this Trigarta. He was powerful for some time. Even he went to the extent of arresting the king of Virat Nagar. But later on, he was killed by Arjuna by the grace of Krishna. Jayadratha, another son of Maharaj 𝗪𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃. He was the king of Sindhu Desh, modern Sindh, Pakistan. His wife's name was Dussala. He was also present in the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi, and he desired very strongly to have her hand, but he failed in the competition. But since then, he always sought the opportunity to get in touch with Draupadi. When he was going to marry in the Salyadesh, on the way to 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃, he happened to see Draupadi again and was too much attracted to her. The Pandavas and Draupadi were then in exile. After losing their empire in gambling, the Jayadratha thought it wise to send news to Draupadi in an illicit manner through 𝗨𝗃𝗁𝗁𝗁, one of his associates. Draupadi at once refused vehemently the proposal of Jayadratha. But he, being so much attracted by the beauty of Draupadi, he tried again and again. Every time he was refused by Draupadi, he tried to take her away forcibly on his chariot, and at first Draupadi gave him a good blessing, and he fell like a cut-root tree. But he was not discouraged, and he was able to force Draupadi to sit on the chariot. This incident was seen by 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃, and he strongly protested the action of Jayadratha. He also followed the chariot, and through 𝗪𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃, the matter was brought to the notice of Maharaj Yudhishthira. The Pandavas then attacked the soldiers of Jayadratha and killed them all. And at last, Bhima caught hold of Jayadratha and beat him very severely, almost dead. Then all but 5 hairs were cut off his head, and he was taken to all the kings and introduced as the slave of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was forced to admit himself to be the slave of Maharaj Yudhishthira before all the princely order, and in the same condition, he was brought before Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira was kind enough to order him released. And when he admitted to being a tributary prince under Maharaj Yudhishthira, Queen Draupadi also desired his release. After this incident, he was allowed to return to his country. Being so insulted, he went to 𝗨𝗪𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃 in the Himalaya and undertook a severe type of penance to please Lord Shiva. He asked his benediction to defeat all the Pandavas, at least one at a time. Then the battle of Kurukshetra began, and he took sides with Duryodhana. In the first day's fight, he was engaged with Maharaj Drupada, then with Virat, and then with Abhimanyu. While Abhimanyu was being killed mercilessly, surrounded by 7 great generals, the Pandavas came to his help. But Jayadratha, by the mercy of Lord Shiva, repulsed them with great ability. All these Arjuna took a vow. At this, Arjuna took a vow to kill him. And on hearing this, Jayadratha wanted to leave the war field and ask permission from Kauravas for this cowardly action. But he was not allowed to do so. On the contrary, he was obliged to fight with Arjuna. And while the fight was going on, Lord Krishna reminded Arjuna that the benediction of Shiva upon Jayadratha was that whoever would cause his head to fall on the ground would die at once. He therefore advised Arjuna to throw the head of Jayadratha directly onto the lap of his father, who was engaged in penance at the 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗪 pilgrimage. This was actually done by Arjuna. Jayadratha's father was surprised to see a severed head on his lap, and he at once threw it to the ground. The father immediately died, his forehead being cracked in 7 pieces. What Krishna does? Jayadratha had such a boon from Lord Shiva. Anybody going to cut his head, this person will also die. Because after you cut the head, then the head is going to touch the ground. As soon as the head will touch the ground, the person who will cut his head, he will also die. So Krishna, Arjuna, be careful. And Arjuna, by the grace of Krishna, he was able to transport the head to the lap of his father. So that's how Arjuna killed Jayadratha and killed his father also. Then, in text number 17, it's very, very, very interesting verse. So aparadham anusmaran santapyamana. Remembering his guilt, Arjuna, he started to speak while tormented. What is saying? 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗃𝗁𝗪 me 𝗨𝗪𝗃𝗁𝗪 bhajanti bhavya mam 𝗨𝗪𝗃𝗁𝗪 bhuvishtam na praharan jadanubhavo-nirasta-citta. So, this is also another incident about the Arjuna. He is remembering 𝗨𝗪𝗃𝗁𝗪. So, Arjuna is saying, how did I do this to Krishna? Who is Atmada? Atmada means, Shruti says, Atmada Balada. Krishna is the giver of the strength. When Krishna gave this strength to me, and I was able to remain protected in different occasions. He is remembering one of the occasions. What is that occasion? Mam Santabaham Arayo Rathina Bhuvistam no Praharan Jad Anubhava Nirasta Chitta. So he is saying the same day when he was fighting with Jayadratha, it so happened, Arjun's horses, they became very thirsty. And Krishna told to Arjuna, he said, Arjuna, the horses have become very tired now. They need to drink water. Without giving them water, you cannot fight. Then Arjuna got down from the chariot and he shot an arrow to the ground, and he was able to get water from the ground. And then Arjuna also got down, Krishna also got down from the chariot, and he helped the horses to drink the water. Then he he bathed the horses. Then after that, horses became very, jubilant. They became very much excited. They got their strength back, and then again Arjuna started fighting. Just to imagine, in the middle of the battlefield, when all these enemies are surrounded, how did Arjuna get time to extract the water from the ground after getting down from the chariot? And horses, they drank water. Krishna bathed the horses. How was it possible? Till that time, how is that no enemy attacked Arjuna? Arjuna is remembering that incident. He's saying, even in the middle of battlefield, I was not fighting, but still Krishna actually protected me. That's why he's saying, Jad padam padma abhavaya bhajanti bhavya. Those who are great souls, they worship the lotus feet of Krishna to gain freedom from this material existence. Srila 𝗨𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗁𝗃 Thakur, he is giving a very wonderful commentary. I want to just read it out to you. Tad virahena tad 𝗨𝗱𝗱𝗲𝗃 smritya dasya bhavasya eva udayat 𝗨𝗶𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁 apalapat tad 𝗨𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁 𝗨𝗶𝗃𝗁 nischinman anutapyamana aha. So Arjuna had seen the opulence of Krishna, means how at different occasions Krishna was very much gracious to Krishna. And now Arjuna is thinking, I ill-treated Krishna actually. I have misbehaved. How did I dare to engage Krishna to become my chariot driver? That's why now he is thinking in the mood of a servitor. And while repenting, he is saying, Sauti Sarathye Abhavaya. Actually, I engaged him to become my chariot driver. Who is Krishna? Abhavaya Mokshaya Bhavya Bhajanti. Who is worshipped by the great souls, the intelligent people, to get moksha. Aham tu abhavaya. Actually, I am not intelligent. Arjuna is now thinking. So this is how you can understand, when a devotee realizes his own mistake, what is his feeling? While reading this Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand that what is the state of consciousness of a devotee when he understands he has committed a great mistake in his career. So Arjuna is saying, I am actually not a very intelligent person. Why? Bhajan, actually I have engaged Krishna to become my chariot driver. Etavad aparadhavatyapi mai tasya dayam sunu ityah. Even though I am such an offender, still you see his great favor towards me. Santa vaha aswa jasya tammam jayadrathavadhi jalapanam vina aswa santa tata rathad avatirjya 𗗵𝗹𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃 bhitva jalam sampaditam maya tada jasya anubhavena nirasta chitta arayo na praharan. So he's saying, these enemies who remain perplexed in their mind by the grace of Krishna, when I got down from the chariot to extract water from the ground and help to quench the thirst of my horses. So in that way, he is saying, actually, I am a very ill-minded person. How? Because Krishna has given me so much strength, but I forgot, I ill-treated him. That's why he is very regretful of his behavior. And while commenting on this purport, Srila Prabhupada, he is speaking about the modern scientists who are so much proud of their scientific advancements. Prabhupada is saying Arjuna had the skill to draw water from the ground simply by penetrating the stratum with a sharp arrow. But have you seen anyone in the modern technology, they have become so successful to extract water from the ground by piercing the ground with an arrow? Nobody can do this, right? So how much more evidence these people they require to believe Krishna? These modern scientists, they have failed to do these small things, and still they don't believe Krishna. See, a devotee of Lord Krishna is so protected and so favored by the Supreme Lord. Then in text number 18, he is speaking another thing, how he has misbehaved with Krishna. 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗪 he Partha he Arjuna Sakhe Kurunandaneti. Sometimes Krishna would address Arjuna as, "Oh, son of Pritha, oh friend, oh son of Kuru dynasty, Kurunandana iti, 𝗨𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗃 𝗪𝗵𝗱𝗃𝗁𝗪 𝗪𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗪 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗃." So he is saying, when I remember this friendly behavior of Krishna, actually I am very much overwhelmed. Srila Sridhar Swami, he writes very interesting commentary. He said, "He Naradeva udaram gambhiram ruchiracha jasmin tam tena shobhitani narmani parihasa vakyani tatha karya prastaveshu he partha ityadini madhuraksharaणि sanjalpitani cha शीदिस्पृशन्ति." So he is saying that sometimes Krishna would speak to Arjuna. They will have very friendly way of conversation. What is that? He is saying, Krishna will say, "Arjun, why don't you do this?" Krishna cannot do anything. So Arjuna is saying, he had such a loving exchange with me. We understand in a friendly behavior how one friend speaks to another friend. And especially when Krishna used to address Arjuna as, "Oh friend, Sakha, oh son of Kuru dynasty," there's so much affection and love Arjuna is missing today. That kind of an association with Krishna. Therefore, he's saying, I am very much overwhelmed. And then he says, "Saya sanatana vikatthanamojanadishu 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗃 vipralabdha sakhyo sakheva pituva tanayasya sarvam sehe mahan mahitaya kumati kimat-kumatyera-bhamme." He's saying how offensive I am. Sayasana tana vikathana bhojanadishu. So sometimes he's saying, I actually misbehaved with Krishna in many different occasions. While sleeping together, while wondering about, and bhojana, while taking meal together, I would always try to glorify myself. I was in a mood of self-adoration. And I ill-treated Krishna. That's why and 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗲 misbehaved with him. Like 𝗨𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗁. Oh Krishna, you are very truthful. Actually, he wants to say, he is actually criticizing him that Krishna is not truthful. He is telling a lie. So Arjuna is telling him, oh, you are very truthful. So Arjuna is saying, oh, why did I misbehave with Krishna like this? Therefore, he is saying, 𝗪𝗱𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 He is realizing Krishna's merciful nature. He is saying, just like a friend tolerates the misbehavior of his friend, or a father tolerates the misbehavior of his son, child. Similarly, he actually said he tolerated everything. 𝗪𝗱𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. He's saying, I am so much afflicted with low class mentality. Kumati. I have offended him. I have done so much injustice to Krishna. Then finally, he is telling to Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Yudhishthir, you had asked me that whether I have become defeated by anyone. Now, yes, I can tell you, I am defeated. Where are you defeated? Soham 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 purusattamena sakhya priyena hridayena sunyah. He's saying, Soham 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃. Nripendra. He is telling Maharaj Yudhishthir, you have become the chief amongst all the kings. How did you become the chief amongst all the kings? By his mercy. That's why he is addressing Maharaj Yudhishthir as Nripendra. Soham 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃. Aham rahita purusattamena. I am bereft of Purushattama. He is no more with us. Sakhya priyena hridayena sunyah. Because I have lost my dear friend Krishna, therefore I am feeling all vacant in my heart today. 𝗪𝗱𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 𝗨𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃. So he is saying that when I was coming back to Hastinapur from Dwaraka, I was coming back with the Mahishis of Krishna. And I was actually protecting them, I was guarding them. But on the way, the cowherd men, they actually defeated me. I became defeated by this cowherd man. So, and I am feeling very much dejected. My heart has become void. Prabhupada, he writes in the purport, 𝗪𝗱𝗃 Chakravarti Thakur has justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Puran and Brahma Puran. In these Puranas, it is said that once the fair denizens of heaven pleased 𝗪𝗱𝗃 Muni by their service and were blessed by the Muni to have the Supreme Lord as their husband. 𝗪𝗱𝗃 Muni was curved in 8 joints of his body, and thus he used to move in a particular curved manner. The daughters of the demigods could not check their laughter upon seeing the movement of the Muni, and the Muni, being angry at them, cursed them that they would be kidnapped by rogues, even if they would get the Lord as their husband. Later on, the girls again satisfied the Muni by their prayers, and the Muni blessed them that they would regain their husband even after being robbed by the rogues. So, in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjuna. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the robes. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of the Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his entourage back to Godhead, and they were called back under different conditions only. So you can see, people who do not understand the commentary of the Acharyas, they don't know these secrets. There are some other Puranas who explain this story differently. If you hear from some other speakers, they would narrate these incidents like these rogues who came to take away the wives of Krishna from Arjuna's custody. They were their past lives' husband. In some other Purana, this explains. And some people, they narrate it like that. But that is not Vaishnava Siddhanta. Therefore, in our Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami, he says the followers of Rupa Goswami should avoid reading many different literatures. Because in different literature, different narrations are given. We, the followers of Rupa Goswami, we don't follow all the scriptures. Okay, whatever is mentioned there, that may be for some other people, but that is not for the Vaishnavas. Those scriptures which speaks about Vaishnava Siddhantas, only we read about and meditate on those literatures. Just like here, you can see very clearly by taking reference from Vishnu Puran and Brahma Puran, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is giving the reference that these rogues who came to steal the wives of Krishna from Arjuna's custody, they were none other than Krishna himself. Who can touch Krishna's wives who were serving Krishna wholeheartedly? So that happened because they were cursed by Ashtavakra Muni. So Muni's curse and also his boon was all taken into account. And then finally, they're all taken back to Godhead. Prabhupada is saying they are called back under different conditions only. So that means once one decides to submit himself or herself unto the service of the personality of Godhead, then Krishna takes the charge of such a devotee. 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗪. If such devotees are being stolen by the rogues, then how can you justify the statement of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita that 𝗨𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗁𝗪? Devotees of Lord Krishna, they never meet with destruction. So in that way, these wives of Krishna who were stolen, apparently speaking, stolen by some rogues, but these rogues are none other than Krishna himself. Okay. So I think we can conclude our class here today. We can take some questions or comments. If you have any question or comment. So Hare Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the class as always. Today's class is very nice because oftentimes Krishna appears to be ignoring the devotees. But today we're hearing how much Krishna is going to do anything, everything to protect his devotees, which is beautiful. It's very self-assuring. But I have a question from verse 12. Verse 12 in the purport. Srila Prabhupada made a reference to Gita 9:21, wherein it is said that when one performs pious activities and is unable to go back to Godhead. He goes to the heavenly planets and enjoy life there. And after he has exhausted his pious life, he comes back to earth. Now, my question is, why would they come back to earth? Does that mean that when you go to the heavens, you do not have any opportunity to continue devotional service up there? Or you just have to come back here? And if you're coming back here, is it because you started from here to go to the heavens? Or if somebody was from a different planet and went to heaven and exhausted his piety, will he go back to the particular planet he was living on before he went to heaven, or he would just come back to earth? I don't know if you get my question.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try to explain, then you can understand. You know, everywhere there is a rule and there are some exceptions. Right? So sometimes exceptions are not spoken, rules are spoken.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean to say, as 𝗨𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗲, while commenting on Gita, he says, 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 𝗪𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃. How can you define the nature, or how can you identify the law or the definition of a particular thing? 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, that which is predominant. Mostly people who go to the heavenly planet because of their pious credit, they return back to this material world. Now the question comes, why? Demigods are sakama bhakta. When they go to the heavenly planet is much more, I don't know how many times, more opulent than the opulence that we find in this material world. So this is many more times opulent. So when they live in that condition, their consciousness is so much engrossed in enjoyment, they even sometimes forget that they are fighting with Krishna, just like in case of Indra. You see, Krishna came and returned his mother's earring, right? And Indra knew this. And on the way back, Krishna was taking this parijata tree, and Indra became so upset. And he had attacked. Just imagine, this is the condition of the person who is deeply infatuated by material opulence. So mostly they are in the enjoying spirit. So therefore they forget about their devotional service to Krishna. Even though there is like Upendra is there, Lord is there, anyone who worships him, they can go about. It's very rare. That's an exception actually. After going to heaven, somebody will go to the upper planet and then finally exit from there. Very rare. But those who perform devotional service in this world, they don't get attracted to even to the heavenly planets. 𝗨𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 narakeshu apitulyarthadarshina. For a devotee of the Lord, the heaven or hell are of no difference. They are same thing. So, therefore, it is said that after going there, they return back when pious spirit is exhausted. Because they are going there just to enjoy. That's it. Just like you see, many people, they come to Mayapur Dham. It's not that everybody, they want to stay and take the association of the devotees here. So they come, they book their guest house, they stay for a few days. After their pious credit is exhausted, means their money is exhausted, they go back. They don't stay here. Okay. They don't want, because they are coming with an enjoying spirit. So people who are going to heavenly planet, why? Because they want to enjoy their life. So their better enjoyment is there available. When they finish, then they come back. They're just following the routine life, you can say that. Service, Prabhu.
Krishna, 𝗨𝗱𝗱𝗲𝗃. Thank you for a wonderful class. Just a continuity on that question. I presume also in the heavenly worlds, I'm just continuing. I have separate questions, but it was an interesting question and answer you've given. So, as part of the heavenly bodies, presumably the heads of those planets like Indra and Vara and Agnidev, those are real devotees who don't presumably come back, and they are devotees that will progress upwards rather than back downwards, I presume. It's all of the sadhakas or those that have some...
I don't know what will happen to Indra. As I gave the example, we have seen many times, right, in the scripture. Indra, he attacked Krishna when he was bringing Parijata tree from Sachidevi's garden. What will happen to such Indra, I don't know. What kind of devotee he is, I cannot tell anything about him. I am not here to judge him, but this is the situation of the people when they become too much engrossed in material enjoyment. Even another time also we know that the Devaguru 𝗨𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗁 came and he was unnoticed. They did not offer him a seat. They didn't offer him any respect. That's how again they lost their entire kingdom in the heaven. So they forget about giving, receiving their guru even. So this is their situation. There are so many evidences are there. I don't know what they are doing, whether they are worshipping, whether they are going to go upward or not. I don't want to comment anything here because I don't want to offend the demigods. They are also like, that at least they are better than me. But this is the fact we see in Shastra.
The reason I'm asking is that I'm presuming Krishna honors his word that any devotional service you've done does not go to vain. So therefore, if they are still considered according to Shastra as great devotees...
There is difference. You see, Krishna rewards everybody. 𝗍𝗨 prapadyante. Try to understand this. He rewards according to your level of surrender. If somebody is surrendering to him, like somebody gives this much heart to Krishna and keeps rest this much for himself. This is what is happening with these people. They, in a little bit, in the corner, because they have done some past credit, that's why they have been given such a post to manage some universal affair in Krishna's creation. But what they are doing, they are mostly interested in enjoyment, enjoying heavenly pleasure. Without being fully renounced, we cannot expect Krishna's mercy. Jnana 𝗨𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃. Jnana, at the same time, vairagya has to be cultivated.
So on a similar point, we read that Krishna never abandons his... I know this is a perspective issue. I'm asking the question not because I don't understand the perspective, but because we need to be able to understand. I wanted to hear you how we should understand. Abhimanyu was a devotee of Krishna.
Who?
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu, yeah.
Yet it appears Krishna abandoned him because he was mercilessly killed by these generals on the battlefield with no intervention by Krishna. It appears. Now, of course, these are all Krishna's leelas, and I understand the philosophy. But how do we explain this to outsiders who say, well, Krishna doesn't abandon his devotees, so Abhimanyu was not a devotee? If Abhimanyu was a devotee, why did he abandon him?
No, I have not done much more study in this regard. I don't want to comment anything. I need to see that why or no. if Abhimanyu was not protected by Krishna. I have to see that, then only I can tell you. Yes, Swadhyay Prabhu?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Similar question to what �υλ𝗱𝗲𝗏 Prabhu was asking about Krishna reminding Arjuna about Jayadratha's boon from Lord Shiva, that whoever cuts off the head will also going to lose his head. So Krishna told Arjuna to direct Jayadratha's head to his father, and his father died. So my question is, why would someone's nonsense be affecting somebody else? I mean, Jayadratha was the one who was fighting. His father was meditating.
Well,
but now he is dead because of the son's nonsense.
Krishna, why Krishna is doing that, I don't know. Don't ask anything. Definitely there is some reason. When Krishna is asking him to do that, means there is a plan behind. Krishna is not going to, doesn't behave enemical to anyone. He protects everyone, and when he is doing that, means there must be some reason behind it. That means we have to read the Mahabharata, then only you can say. Maybe, I don't know. Commentary.
So that means that it is not that somebody does something wrong and another person will have to share the suffering with him. But it appears that Jayadratha's father also had done something that he had to die, but we may not know for now.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
That law is always there. Krishna's law is universal. He doesn't go beyond his law. You should know this.
Yeah, I asked this question because somebody, very big person in ISKCON, had been saying that when one commits offense, the offense does not just affect him alone, but it affects all his generation. And I was wondering, why would my nonsense affect somebody else who hasn't done anything wrong? So, well, I thank you for the answer. Thank you.
Kunalji?
Disappearance of acharyas from the earth. Supposed to be a very solemn and extremely sad and introspective moment for all the devotees who remain on the earth. And so could you please explain as to what an appropriate mood of a devotee should be who is hearing such kinds of that part of the pastime of the disappearance, and how should we use that to inculcate more bhakti in ourselves, and also from the mood of helping others, like in 𝗨𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗃, this 1,000-year sacrifice took place after that, with the mood to help everyone on earth progress towards the final destination.
You see, first of all, the devotees in Krishna consciousness, they know Krishna Tattva very clearly. Krishna appears and disappears. Krishna does not have a material body like we have. He is Satchidananda Vigraha. He is always present everywhere. He appears and disappears. So for us, we don't see like Krishna, he left his body. No, for atheistic people, to give them an opportunity, sometimes Krishna may do such kind of pastimes, he may act such kind of play in this earthly planet to keep the atheistic class of people remain deluded about him. But we, by studying scripture, we understand Krishna is always there. He will continue to be there. and He is our worshipful Lord, life after life, even we are in this material world. And then when we leave this material world, we go there. So the devotees, they are always in joyful condition, understanding Krishna's position, his eternal position. Okay? Regarding our acharyas, try to understand this. There are two types of people who are with Krishna. Some are actually three types of people, you can say 𝗨𝗶𝘃𝗃𝗃, sadhana siddha, and nitya siddha. So those who come to the platform of siddha, what is their status? When you know this, then you definitely don't lament for their physical disappearance. At the same time, we definitely feel very much separation from them because of not because of losing the opportunity to get their saintly association in person. But we don't feel that they have left this world means there's something wrong has happened to them. What is the understanding? What is the meaning of Siddha, Mahatma, Siddha Purush? If you say, who is a perfect person? 𝗨𝗱𝗱𝗃𝗁𝗪𝗀 Srila Rupa Goswami, he speaks in Nectar Devotion that they are free from any kind of klesha. We don't think that this person left his body because he was tormented by the sin or sinful desires. No. No avidya. There is no ignorance in them. They don't commit any sinful activity. There is no even desire for sinful activity is there in them. Abhigyata khelat. Then Sada Krishna Shrita Kriya. They are always engaged in performing devotional service unto Krishna. Means in their absence, we always try to meditate on how was the character of such a devotee, how he was able to remain in the Siddha platform without being touched by the sinful desires or without considering this body as himself. He was not committing any sinful activities, and how he was always engaged in the service of the Lord, and in the midst of this material world, Saukhya, Prema Saukhya Swada Parayana. This is the third point. He is always releasing the joy of loving devotion, the execution of loving devotional service. He is always relishing the joy of loving devotional service unto Krishna. So when we remember a great devotee of the Lord, we should be meditating on such qualities, how he was able to always remain joyful, relishing the loving devotional service unto Krishna. He was totally freed from all types of sufferings. He never considered himself, his body as the self, and how he was always engaged, constantly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. That's how we should get the inspiration from him. And at the same time, as I said, we feel great separation from such pure devotees because in their physical absence, we are bereft of their personal association, their advice, their uplifting association. We feel very sorry for ourselves for not having their association. So in that way, if we cultivate this mood, that will help us also remain Krishna conscious. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I just to follow up on Sadev Prabhu's question. I've also read somewhere in one of Prabhupada's purports, I can't remember where and I can't recall where I read it, but that the actions of a father can have a detrimental impact on the children, and vice versa as well. Actions of children can have a karmic reaction to the father because the father is responsible. I guess there must be an interconnection of karmic past and previous karma that is adjoined, but I have read Prabhupada comment on that actions of a father can have impact on children and vice versa. So,
that's correct.
One more question, Prabhuji, just a quick one. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that unless you have built up piety, immense piety, one cannot transport oneself to the heavenly planets. But we read also in Shastra that great demons from lower planetary systems have traveled to the higher planetary systems, the heavenly planets such as Ravana, etc. Presumably it's because of their austerity and piety as opposed to their devotional credit,
I don't know how demons go to the heavenly planet. They go to 𝗨𝗱𝗲𝗃.
Ravan captured Indra.
That is called 𝗨𝗱𝗱𝗃. No? 𝗨𝗱𝗃 in the lower planet. That is even more opulent than the Swarga in the heavenly planet.
But is Indralok not within the heavenly planets, the Swargalok? Indralok is within the Swarga system.
Indralok is Swargalok.
And Hiranyakashipu captured Indra and all of but he was a demon.
So, yes, he was here, Hiranyakashipu was here. He was such a powerful person that he could, by the Hiranyakashipu, he did penance to Brahma, no?
Yeah, so that was my question, Prabhuji, that it was through penance, not through devotional credit necessarily.
No, you, Baba, why you need devotional credit to go to the higher heavenly planet? You should need some past credit. You can get some blessing of some demigod, that's also a past credit. So that is not a big deal. Not that, you don't think so much about it. Yes, those who are devotee of demigod, by getting benediction from demigods, so they may also get opportunity. But if you try to understand this, don't think this Swargalok is a very, very exalted.
No, I'm not pining for it. I'm just trying to work out the logic. For instance, Prabhupada says.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not a very, very big place. That's not a very exalted position that nobody can go. Why demon can't go there?
No, my question was going to.
Why a demon cannot go there?
Yeah, that was the question, that humans, if they are, for instance, these demonic human society is chasing after demigods, then presumably through their benediction, they may still be able to go to the moon, no?
No, then they will not go. They are even more degraded than these demons who are mentioned in the Shastra. As you said, mention the name of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, at least he had faith on Brahma, he worshipped Brahma. Okay? 𝗵𝗲 Maharaj, even though he was demon, you can see, he knew that Lord Vishnu is the supreme and he ignored his Guru's advice. So these demons are better demons that we see. That's why their name is appearing in Shastra.
I like that. No, thank you. Thank you. I was just trying to apply this demon logic to saying, why can't the demons of this world travel? No. Your answer is the perfect one. So
see, Krishna will fight with those kind of demons. Krishna will not look at the demons, even your demons here. They are so degraded. Tanaham visata kruram sangsare sunadaman kitame jasama subham asuri sueva janisu आसुरीम जन्म पन्ना मूढ़ा जन्मनि जन्मनि माम अप्राप्यैव कौन्तेय ततो जानति अधमाम गतिम. This is the situation of the demons here. There are different types of demons, you should know. Not all demons are in the same category.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful answer. Thank you.
Very well. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mancha Gopataru Vyascha Vipasam Buddheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo